Welcome everyone to another edition of 4D, Def's Daily Dose of Dota. I'm your host, Michael Deficit Plumley, and today is October 27th. It's episode 14. We're going to be focusing on the support play of Alliance.Misery, currently a stand-in for Alliance, and his Venomancer play in a game of the losers bracket at the recent Star Ladder Star Series Season 10 Offline LAN Finals. To get started with the game, I wanted to give you guys a little preview of what we're going to be going through. It's support play, so not as much itemization, but a lot of positioning, a lot of ward buying, super important on supports, a lot of smoke buying, and then, as always, a lot of supporting. Making sure your carries stay alive, making sure your carries help get kills, making sure your carries help get farm. So let's hop right into it. We're going to go into the split view, and I wanted to start off by talking a little bit about Venomancer. You guys can see on screen I have def score open, and I have Venomancer selected currently inside the simulation. And you'll notice a couple things right off the bat. Over half of his damage is magical, 3 of his talents providing magical damage, and the 4th, wards. But looking at his spell breakdown, you'll notice it's a pretty good combination of his abilities. He doesn't have anything that particularly stands out that it is his one damage dealer, with the exception of Poison Nova. That's going to be about 700 damage once you max out its rank at rank 3. About a third of his damage is going to be coming from auto attack. You can also see the Venomous Gale provides a fair amount of damage, 300 or so. And then Poison Sting, even less, at 15%. And then the wards are even less than that. Probably the least out of his abilities at around 8% of your damage. We're going to jump into that reason for the wards in a moment. But I just wanted to point out that the damage amount's not as important on Venomancer. He's going to be focused primarily as a support when you need slows. Sure, you need a little bit of magic damage, and perhaps you need a little bit of survivability in the late game. Venomancer is an agility hero, so he's going to provide a little extra agility, meaning a little extra armor in those late games if you're facing a farmed up Ember Spirit, or someone who does a great percentage of their DPS as physical damage, like Slardar, who you see already up on the screen. I wanted to hop over to the wiki and just focus on one thing that I always like to clear up for people regarding the wards. Although the wards say, let's just look at the amounts, 9 to 11, 17 to 21, 26, and then maxing out at around 35 to 40 damage, they're piercing damage, not normal damage. And if you're ever in the wiki, you can just click on piercing damage. Let's see if this is going to be on screen barely. Yep. But you'll notice down here at the effective table, when you go to the piercing damage and you highlight the percentage, increase or decrease depending on the armor type. 150% per armor, 200% per light, but if you go down to the hero, it's 50% damage. Meaning whatever the ward says it does damage-wise, it's going to cut that in half. That's your amount if you're attempting to burst down a hero. And furthermore, 35% against fortified. Meaning if you're trying to take down the towers, don't count on those wards. They're only going to be doing 35% of their stated damage. So now that we've laid that out in context of this coming game, let's hop into the game. You see, it's already up in the draft, and as usual, the hero that we've selected is not on the board yet. He's going to come out as the 5th pick, and I always like to pause it here right before the 5th pick so we can get an idea of what our teams use to fulfill their role. With that in mind, let's hop into the game. I always like to analyze the distribution of the primary attributes. Cloud9 are running 2 support heroes, intelligence heroes, not a surprise. They picked up a Slardar carry, as well as a Centaur Warrunner. He could be offlane.
5 seconds.
And he's also going to be an excellent frontline hero. Meanwhile, for Alliance, they're currently drafting 4 strength heroes. They're going to have a significant HP advantage on a lot of the people like Witch Doctor or Skywrath Mage. Wraith King's also going to have that vampiric aura to heal everyone up. But Io, of course, is going to play the support here. However, they could use another support, Alliance. You'll notice the Doom could easily be a carry. Brewmaster, very popular mid. And Wraith King could go easy lane farm.
Alliance's turn to ban.
We're going to see how these picks come out.
Cloud9's turn to pick.
Cloud9
Alliance's turn
finally
to
pick up the 5th hero and their first agility hero. Good idea. And Alliance, will they complete with an agility hero? We already know the answer to that. It's the Venomancer.
Turn to pick.
So Venomancer will definitely be fulfilling a support role here.
10
Not the best damage dealer.
seconds remaining.
Both his
Prepare
abilities
for
as
battle.
well as the wards are not great damage dealers. So we're going to hop into the game here. And look at our laning situation. It looks like Bulldog is going to be in the off lane. May see himself up against the tri-lane of Slardar, Skywrath, and Witch Doctor dual caster combo. He's going to have his work cut out for him. But we also see our heroes for Alliance. Mag, a Wraith King, Loda's Wraith King, Ake on the support IO, and today's hero of
30
heroes,
seconds to battle.
Misery, on the Venomancer. Already picking up a ward. They saw this ward go down, so it'll be a very easy D ward. He's going to be starting out with your pretty straightforward support build. Couple of branches, some tangos. Looks like he pulled 2 of them to that Brewmaster. Always nice to do. Even if it's a pub and the guy is Peruvian and he first picked Tinker and he's spamming,
The battle
give me 2
begins.
tangos in chat. Might as well. See how he uses them. So as we start off this game, we're going to see Ake on the IO, just blocking the lane creeps best he can. And then Misery picking up the sentries to help D-ward. A quick 50 gold going his way.
Double damage!
And we see him on the front lines. Also worth noting, 285 movement speed. So he's a little vulnerable. He's definitely below average in terms of his escapability. But that's one of the trade-offs with Venomancer, because in return he does have multiple slows. The Plague Ward, once you talent Poison Sting, provides the slowing dot. Poison Sting itself provides a slow. And Venomous Scale, if you can land it, a big 50% slow over 15 seconds. But we see him just forcing the Centaur off the lane, keeping him at max range here. Trying to deny him the XP. And an IO pull coming out already. We see Misery just coming over to help out DPS a little bit. However, it's worth noting, 44 damage, or between that, 43 to 45. He has a very small window, so it's going to be consistent damage, but it's very low starting amount. As we see him taking up the creep wave a little bit, just to make sure the creeps do not come within range of the tower. He doesn't want to make that lane push too quickly. But 44 is very anemic compared to a carry like Wraith King, 57. Centaur at 60. Doom, 64. Even the supports from the opposing Cloud9 team, Witch Doctor, 60 damage, significantly more. Wraith King, or pardon me, Skywrath Mage is almost as low at 49. But ever since a couple patches ago, I think 6.77, when he was nerfed for the 3rd consecutive time, that right-click damage was
Dire's
one of the
bottom
final things to
tower
take a
is
hit.
under attack.
So we see him still level 1, but sticking with his other support, IO. That's interesting that actually IO does more damage than he does. But that's not really Venomancer's forte. He's all about the slows. He has finally talented Venomous Gale. We may see that land on the Centaur. And with this tri-lane up top, there's not going to be a lot of XP going around. Centaur Warrunner is, of course, forced off the lane, but IO very smart to be pulling as much as possible to try and help. And they're going. Venomous Gale in addition to a Wraithfire Blast, and that 44 damage is doing work. And together they help secure the first blood. It's going to be a little bit of gold going to everybody. Only 33 or so for our supports, but 400 for IO. We'll see a bottle coming out for him already. And Venomancer picking up a clarity
Radiant's
potion
top tower is under attack.
and just finishing off that creep wave. He's getting close to level 3. He may want to pull this next creep wave, since it's already pushing up towards the tower. And once again, you just want to try and spread out the XP. You're already 3 people in a lane versus 1. Likewise, we see Witch Doctor in the bottom lane, pulling his own lane. Letting Slardar get a little extra farm here, because it's already going to be pushing up towards the tower. And just letting him get the exclusive 100% of the XP from these creeps in lane. Fantastic double pull coming out for our Witch Doctor. As we see Misery choosing not to double pull, but didn't have the camp there in time. It's going to be up again now, and he's just looking out to reposition. They're not sure where Centaur is. He's actually abandoned the lane. So a ward will go down in lane to help secure vision. And Misery and Ake find themselves with not much to do in lane. So Venomancer, already with boots on board, does pick up a TP scroll in case he needs to rotate. And we see not a lot happening, but Venomancer is now level 3. He's able to pick up his Poison Sting and Plague Wards, and we'll see him switch lanes. This lane had been basically abandoned, free farm for our Slardar. As a result, he is first on last hits. But Lodo's gotten a fair amount himself, and they have gotten that early kill on the Centaur. So we're going to see Venomancer stick around, at least try and soak up some XP in lane. He may feel the heat on him, using the wards though, to scout out that Slardar coming in. A bit surprised he didn't dive there, he had the potential. But Alliance might have been very quick to TP in for support. And he could have used wards to potentially block him out, though they are, well, they were at the time only 75 HP. He's now up to level 4, and his second, or rank 2 talent will be the Plague Wards. Those jump up very quickly from 75 HP to 200. What starts out as a nuisance that can be killed in maybe 2 hits quickly turns into something you have to kill in 4 or 5. So we'll see him help secure the rune for Brewmaster, putting 1 Plague Ward on the high ground just to ensure no one does attempt to dive, and they would have proper vision. And with the lane pushing out, now 200 HP, we'll see him start to just use these Plague Wards for what they're best, killing lane creeps. As mentioned earlier, they have only 50% damage to heroes and only 35% to fortified structures, like the tower. So we're going to see him sitting back, and perhaps rotate lanes again, just to see who he can help out. Looks here like he'll be at least using his time to stack this camp, getting everything he can done. While we'll wait for the action to come towards him again, we'll see a smoke picked up, and he'll be running back to base to pick that up. Along with a Sage Mask, probably my favorite early game item. That 50% mana regen is big. So we're even going to roll that back. Instead of 1.3 mana regen, he was 0.9, so an extra 0.4. That's almost 0.5 per second. So about 30 extra. That's easily a ward or 2 per minute. He's getting close to level 5, but he knows the lane's pretty pushed out so far, especially with Witch Doctor pulling as much as he is. And we're going to see a rotation from our Alliance heroes. 4 heroes are coming bottom now. Venomancer does have a smoke, and they will pop it.
Dire's middle tower
Their target is this Slardar. The Venomous Gale goes off. But That Witch Doctor support helping his own supports. As we see Slardar falls, but Venomancer does as well. He's very low HP, though he did get a couple Plague Wards down, and he did rank up to level 5. We're going to see him maxing out this Plague Ward ability, probably the best to go with first. They do max out at 450 HP and are substantial tanks for things like lane creeps, as well as tower fire. The Venomous Gale does at least increase with damage over time as well as strike duration as you rank it up, but that's mainly going to be used, as we saw with First Blood, for that 50% slow for 15 seconds. The Poison Sting, although the duration does get increased and the damage over time, it's worth keeping in mind that they are magical damage, as we see Skywrath Mage very slowly kill this Plague Ward. We'll give him 17 gold, though. But the Poison Sting, the slow percentage at least, is probably the biggest reason to take the talent at all. And you'll see that with subsequent ranks, you only get one more percent, 11, 12, 13 to 14%. That's about 10 extra slow, whereas the slow just one rank takes off 30 to 35 at early levels. We see him down to 320. That could easily be run down by a hero with boots. Even Venomancer is sitting at 335. But he's rank 3 now. 350 damage, so we're seeing him just push here, kind of form a blockade of them. But we're also going to see them on the left-hand side here. Just
top tower
using them for another key ability, scouting.
Dire's structures are fortified.
So we see the only lanes of attack coming in through here, but they would be scouted out if there was an attempted flank. We see another one put down. But we see them all staying within the same area. And Centaur's attempted flank scouted out by a key ward.
Radiant's bottom tower is under attack.
He's already level 6. Looks like he is pooling that talent for now. Poison Nova is a substantial 200 gold, or pardon me, 200 mana at rank 1. And if you are spamming the Plague Wards to push your lane or defend under a tower, oftentimes you will not have that 200 mana, representing about 60% of his mana pool at level 6. So we see him just holding that in reserve. He's also level 7 now. That rank may immediately go into another rank of Plague Wards. As we see Skywrath Mage, Doom, and Centaur looking to dive. But Bulldog will turn around on the Centaur. And with the help of that slow and dot, he should tick down to this Doom. A little assist for the Venomancer. No gold going his way, but he did delay the Skywrath Mage from being able to help the Centaur.
Dire's middle tower is under attack.
We now see both the Poison Nova picked up, along with Plague Ward, and he's picked up a Magic Stick,
Dire's
another excellent value item early on,
attack.
along with a TP Scroll. But his mana pool is getting low. He is only 1.6 regen, so that's about 45 mana. Or rather, closer to 90, I guess. For 60 seconds. That's only going to be 4 or 5 Plague Wards. But with the Ring of Bacillus, he's now a little higher. He's going to have some armor. But he's very low on mana. It's already 12 minutes into the game, so we're going to see him walk back to base. Meanwhile, Loda having a great time farming. 60 last hits, staying pretty competitive. He did get his Midas up, that will help him substantially. And Doom using his time to farm in the jungle. As we see now that Venomancer's back to base, he picks up wards. Excellent item. And upgrades to a magic wand. I think he thought about the smoke, but he might have sold that.
Dire's middle tower is under attack.
And we're going to see him walk out to
Radiant's
mid lane
bottom
instead of
tower
porting.
is under attack.
And group up with his 4 allies. And just instantly drop down these 450 HP wards to try and tank.
Dire's middle tower is under attack. Dire's structures
2 defensively
are
behind the
fortified.
tower. He might start to be more aggressive. There's another ward placed to try and prevent this tier 1 mid for going down for as long as possible. Eternal Envy actually went Vanguard on Slardar. I have some strong beliefs about that, but we'll save those for another day. Today is all about Misery and placing down those plague wards. The tower was low, at about 25%. So now that the mid lane is much more secured, we'll see him probably rotate, perhaps place down some of these observer wards. And once again at level 7 you'll see his itemization, or his build rather, is to max out the plague wards. Just keep a value point in Poison Sting and Venomous Scale, which did help to secure that first blood. And then Poison Nova. It's expensive for the mana, but just periodically go back to base. Simple as that. I see a lot of Venomancers sitting around their towers, sitting in lane, completely out of mana. Not wanting to rotate. We do see the Gale hit and a Poison Nova. Looks like it's collecting a large amount of damage for the Witch Doctor, but he will get away, and so will the Razor. One thing Venomancer does not have is a stun. So those clutch TPs doing work. Eternal Envy as well, porting back to base. So, now low on mana, with his ult on cooldown, we see Venomancer rotate back to base again. Just fill up the tank, and be ready to go again. This tier 1 tower is still standing. Those plague wards are gone. Their duration is 40 with a 5-second cooldown, so if you really need to fortify a specific area, should you get there early enough, you could get up around 6 or 7. And we may see him, looks like he was going to push out this lane, but instead he'll come mid. As we see Alliance committing a smoke for Roshan. This may be scouted out by Brewmaster, or does he not? Does he not know? Slardar very useful with this 10 armor reduction. It's better than a medallion at rank 1. It's better than Vengeful Spirit's ability. But it is the ultimate, so that could be understandable. Eternal Envy getting low.
Roshan has fallen to the
And the first Roshan of the game goes to Alliance. Misery was putting these wards very forward in the front of the lane, just consistently in this area, but still on the high ground. He does have the ward here to scout if there will be any flanks coming. So we see him just occupying here, and this gives, with this lane, mostly secure. It gives his Alliance brethren time to farm up the jungle. Wraith King, already getting some points in that Mortal Strike. He's going to be a very efficient farmer. Doom, always a great jungler, once you get 1 or 2 levels on him.
Radiant's bottom tower
And although it
is
does
under
take
attack.
a few seconds, not much more, to eat through these creeps, that may be enough time for our heroes to come and
Dire's
assist.
middle tower is under attack.
As we see Misery, about 1100 gold, but will be forced back.
Dire's middle tower has
Slardar's
fallen.
amplify damage, forcing back our Venomancer and helping C9 secure the mid tower. Venomancer will just sit up defensively in a position behind his tower and just use the plague wards again to delay any attempted
Dire's
sieges
middle
or
tower
lane
is under
pushes that are
attack.
coming out. We see Slardar rotating up top, putting the amplify damage on Doom. Minus 36, or a 36% increase in physical damage. So we see Venomancer just starting to push a little bit with the wards, getting one on the high ground to see the retreat of our Cloud9 heroes. But Cloud9, having taken the mid tier 1, are forced to back up. Though Eternal Envy is choosing to take the time to farm up the jungle. And with that, we're going to take a break. That would be what I would consider the end of the early game, end of the laning phase for this match. We've seen Venomancer pick up an initial point in Venomous Gale that helped secure the first kill with the help of that tri-lane. But other than that, we've seen him mostly focusing on maxing out his Plague Wards, getting the 1 talent rank in Poison Sting. And we've seen him rotating from lanes to lanes, not able to push up on the towers yet, and not really able to contribute damage to kill heroes. But Venomancer is all about those Plague Wards that do damage mostly to lane creeps, and the litany of slows that he provides. When we come back, we're going to see how Venomancer transitions into the mid game rather, after this relaxing music break.